Hey Bean Dudes, and welcome to another top 10 list. Today we are covering the top 10 dumbest items in Animal Jam, because Animal Jam has released so many items. Well, at least 10 of them are bound to be pretty stupid, and you will see exactly what I mean in this list of the top 10 dumbest items in Animal Jam. I understand that Lilac Petal has done a video similar to this, but that video was done years and years ago, and also she only covered items inside of Jamaa clothing, so I decided to make a much newer version, using all of the items around Jamaa, and also just trying to reflect my own opinions, because mine are very different from hers. So anyways, Beans, I hope you enjoy. The first item is the golden soccer ball. It can be found in Epic Wonders for 1,500 gems. It's a pretty terrible idea in many respects. First of all, it seems like a really stupid idea to play soccer with a soccer ball made of pure gold, because not only would you hurt your foot, but you'd also probably hurt the soccer ball, which costs gold, and if you did manage to kick it somehow and roll it somewhere, it'd probably just break everything else, so it seems like a very expensive and painful way to ever play soccer. Next up is the Narwhal Horn, one of the craziest items Animal Jam has added. It just looks really ridiculous on every single animal, which I guess is the point, because it is supposed to be a funny animal since so many kids around Animal Jam's age range really think narwhals are hilarious. One of my favorite things about it though is that when you put it on an octopus, well, it goes on the forehead. The next one is pixelated hats, or heads, or whatever you want to call them. It's Animal Jam's really cheap excuse to charge us 2 diamonds for these ridiculous looking items. Basically, they're pretty hilarious for about 30 seconds because they look giant on certain animals, and then after that you realize you spent 2 weeks worth of diamonds on a silly looking item. So although I get the intent behind them, well, whether they should cost diamonds, that's another issue. It just seems to me like a pretty easy thing Animal Jam can mass produce and then charges diamonds for, but hey, that's just me. Next up is the mask. Unfortunately, I'm not rare enough to have actual masks, so I'll show you with the scary mask. Basically, the mask is one of those items that is super ugly on every single animal, but was really rare at a certain point. So they've become almost a staple of Animal Jam fashion, and now people still wear them because they're so used to seeing them in old, rare looks, even though, well, they don't look so great on any animal. People say they look good on snow leopards, but I really do not agree. And when I say masks, I also just mean every single other mask in the game. I feel like every mask just awkwardly fits onto your animal's face. I mean, you can still see the animal's face behind it, it just kind of like sticks on the nose, so in a lot of animals it just looks really awkward. Number 7 is the paint splatter. Now you may be thinking, what the heck, that's a totally normal item for like an artist den. Well, as soon as these were released, kids' minds got a little astray, and they came up with some interesting ideas. So obviously, being kids, the first thing a lot of people did was turn the paint red and then fill their den with it, or like create a murder scene or something and use the red paint as blood. Animal Jam reacted and removed all the red paint, but still, there are a lot of dubiously colored paints that could represent a lot of other things besides blood that are not particularly appropriate and kind of gross. Plus, all the time, kids still use different colored paint splatters for blood. I get the intent behind this item, but I really think that the risk outweighs the benefit on this one. It was just kind of a dumb idea to add in the first place. Next up are the paperclip earrings, and I guess I would say the paperclips in general, but the paperclip earrings are especially stupid. You're literally paying 550 gems for 4 paperclips. Not to mention, they're for members only. The paperclip bracelet is non-members, and that probably has, what, like 20 paperclips? But getting 4 paperclips chipped together that you somehow just like stick into your ears costs 550 gems and is only for members. Not to mention, it's paperclip earrings. Let's think about that. I mean, there are just so many things wrong with this item. It's literally earrings made out of paperclips. Imagine how uncomfortable that would be. Next up are pretty much every single blanket in Jamaa, the good ones and the bad ones, because all of the good ones are members only, and all of the bad, worn up, tattered ones are non-member, which seems terrible, because it's sold in places like Mount Shavir, and those are super cold, and if Animal Jam was at all realistic, well, you'd probably want a pretty good blanket, but Animal Jam has made it so that if you're a non-member, you get one of these really bad blankets, and you're probably going to freeze to death. I mean, I get that they have to make like less cool blankets for non-members, but it does feel just ridiculous the point to which they made these worn and tattered. Next up is the sandcastle. You may be thinking, Julian, why the heck is a sandcastle on this list? Well, it's pretty dumb, and you know why? Because the sandcastle is an underwater item. That's really not going to work out so well, because when you go into the Lost Ruins or the Sunken Ship and try to build a sandcastle, well, I don't really know how Animal Jam expects that to stay together. Number 2 are the jellyfish and the minnows. They look pretty cool on their own, yeah, they're a great idea, not really at all though. Why? Well, because when you have that many individual little things doing a really complicated animation over and over and over, repeated like 20 times because there are 20 minifish and jello. Did I just say minifish? You know what I'm talking about. There are like 20 minnows or 20 jellyfish per little item. Well, there's gonna be a lot of lag. A lot of lag, especially just for one item. So what people like myself have done is filled their entire den with items like these, and well, it gets very, very laggy. I even have a video called I Locked Myself Out of My Own Den, where I literally lock myself out of my own den. I made an underwater den and then filled it with jellyfish, and then when I tried to join, it was so laggy that my shockwave player would crash and I could not get into my own den.
Go to a populated server and you yell, "Free spikes at my den." And then everyone goes to visit your den, and it's so fun, and everyone wants to go to your den, but as you can see, no one's coming to my den. Oh, there goes one person, but when we go to my den, this just happens, and then your shockwave crashes.
The only way I ever fixed this was by getting rid of all of my animals that could go underwater, and then trying to go to my den, because then it would automatically switch into a land den, and then I just recycled the underwater den, because no one should ever have to undergo that pain. Overall, it was just kind of a dumb idea on Animal Jam's part to add items that cause so much lag on their own, and then make it so that you can have like 40 to 50 of these in a single den, to the point where it will literally crash your entire shockwave player, not just the game. And the number one dumbest item on this list goes to the panda topiary. Why? Because it's ridiculously fat for no reason. It looks hilarious, especially when you put it down. Look at this size comparison of my panda compared to this panda. This is just shameless fat shaming. Like, that's so bad. That's so bad. Animal Jam seems to have this thing where they just love to fat shame various animals. You can tell by looking at the plushies filling the diamond shop. They really just did not hold back on calling these animals fat. Oh, I bet you thought I was done ragging on Animal Jam. Nope, now we're gonna go ahead and get into some honorable mentions. These are things that didn't quite make the cut, but are definitely pretty dumb. First off, I want to talk about the zombie mask. It just looks ridiculous, and it looks like it's moldy cheese, honestly. I find it hilarious also that the only way it changed the color is changing the eye, and you just can't make it stop looking like green moldy cheese. Also, the gnome hat and beard is a very interesting idea that Animal Jam added, because it was just inevitably going to lead to so many Keemstar jokes. I didn't throw the skeleton suit in there because it is a cool item overall, but Animal Jam was pretty dumb in executing it, because basically if you equip anything on top of the skeleton suit, it looks super glitchy, and it is not at all right. Also, I just want to talk about every single wig in the game ever, except for that one Donald Trump wig that noobs wear to try and be Donald Trump. No one really uses wigs, and I don't know why they keep releasing them. I mean, it just feels weird going around as like a human in Animal Jam, especially because all of the hairstyles that Animal Jam chooses to use are very, not so popular nowadays. Oh, and of course, the Bright Idea hat, just because of the irony that it was a terrible idea. When it first came out, I don't know if you remember, but Apari started this really weird trend where people would dress up with the Bright Idea hat and go around and just try and lag random Jamaw townships with his turtle Bright Idea hat sloth army. It was a really interesting time. And I want to give an even specialer shout out to the big hair with rollers. This is just the ultimate granny hair, and the only reason it didn't actually make it onto the list is because I have seen some pretty funny moments in Animal Jam that people have sent me to my email where people dress up as a grandma and like go and mess with people. Another item I think is pretty dumb is the princess necklace. It's obviously not that much better than the necklace. The necklace is 40 gems, the princess necklace is 80, yet this very minute difference in gems means that one is members only and one is non-members. I mean, really? You couldn't have given non-members this princess necklace? Oh, and don't think I'm done. The ocean lands have not even been touched yet. These submersibles are ridiculous. They take up like half of the den, and this is a big deal because ocean dens in general, well, there are only 2 of them, so yes, the 2 ocean dens are quite small, especially compared to the land dens, and these items are huge in those dens. Also, the underwater HD TV just seems like a really bad idea. Just because you took an HD TV and then called it underwater and put some fins on it does not mean it's going to work underwater. Please do not try this in real life, kids. Also, a negative shout out to the pile of treasure, a thing full of gold and pearls and diamonds and even a diamond necklace that costs 800 gems. You can literally buy a treasure map for half of the amount that you can buy a pile of treasure. So what I'm getting from this is if in Animal Jam you were ever to search for treasure, to buy a map would cost you half of what the treasure is actually worth. Anyways, beans, thank you so much for watching. I just want to remind you, I mean no hate towards AJHQ. I really do respect that they make so many items, and a lot of the items on this list are fun because they're dumb, and they're purposefully dumb. So I really am not complaining about all the items we get. Animal Jam is actually so good about releasing cool items and new hilarious items. So thank you so much for everything you do. It's just fun to rag on you every once in a while. Anyways, Beans, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!